We all have toenails. Some are shaped and pretty, others are thickened and jagged. Some people like them left longer, while others like to cut them very short. A lot of what we do with our toenails are personal preference. There are, however, some aspects of toenail care that should be followed and not left to your whim. My name is Dr. Andrew Schneider, and I'm a podiatrist in Houston, Texas. In my practice, I see all sorts of problems that the toenails cause. It's not usually the toenail's fault, though. It usually is a user error situation where people think they know what's best for their toenails. In today's video, I'll discuss how to properly trim and care for your toenails. But before I get into it, please like, share, and subscribe to this video. Also, I wrote a book all about maintaining healthy toenails. You can get it for free at www.mytoenailbook.com. Proper foot health includes caring for your toenails. I often get asked in my Houston podiatry office to demonstrate to my patients the proper way to trim their toenails. I'm always happy to oblige. Sometimes it's a parent asking for the demonstration for their child, only to realize that they themselves have been wrong this whole time. Generally speaking, your toenails should be cut straight across. Not too long, not too short. Don't feel like you need to cut all the way across at once. You can cut 2 or 3 times just to get across the nail. But within these parameters is some leeway for personal preference. For instance, I have some patients who can't tolerate their toenails being long at all. They need to keep their nails on the shorter side, being careful not to make them too short. After you trim your toenails, you should file them to eliminate any rough or sharp corners. This is easily done with an emery board or a nail file. Sharp corners on the toenail can catch on socks and dig into adjacent toes. They can even be responsible for an ingrown toenail. Now, with any good rule comes some exceptions. Some people's nails grow curved. They may have always been this way, but in some cases, the nails become more curved with time. In this case, if you cut your toenail straight across, it leaves behind a sharp corner that can dig into the toe. After you trim your toenail straight across, you should round off the corners. This can be done by clipping the corners. But a preferable and safer way is to use a nail file or an emery board to file the corners of the toenail. When you trim your toenails, you want to avoid a few different things. First, don't rip, tear, or bite your toenails. Aside from it being less hygienic and pretty gross, you don't have the control of trimming the nail properly. You end up with a jagged toenail that follows its own path, and you run the risk of the nail being too short, too jagged, or growing into the side of the toe. You also risk leaving a spicule of nail in the toe where it could potentially become infected. Be careful only to use your own clean instruments to trim your toenails. Dirty nail clippers can harbor bacteria, which can lead to an infection, especially if you accidentally nick your toe. Be careful not to clip your toenails too short. You also should avoid trimming too much of the sides of the nail. I know you think you're doing this to avoid ingrown toenails, but it can have the opposite effect. You should also be careful not to let your toenails get too long. On average, most people should trim their toenails once every 6 to 8 weeks. But everyone's nails grow at different rates, so you have to see what interval works best for you. You also should not cut or push back your cuticles. The cuticles are a means of protecting the toenail and the surrounding skin from bacteria. While you might like how your toe looks, cutting them can increase the risk of infection. Now, some of you are thinking that you don't even cut your own toenails. You get a regular pedicure. And that's all well and good, but I have some suggestions for you as well. First of all, you want your pedicurist to follow the same rules that I spoke about. This includes not cutting your nails too short, filing rough parts of the toenail, not trimming the edges deep into the toe, and not cutting or pushing back the cuticles. Adding to that, you should be mindful of where you're going for a pedicure. Take a look around. Are the stations clean? Are instruments lying around? How do they clean their instruments? Do the technicians wash their hands between clients? These are questions that should have simple and straightforward answers. Now, some people avoid some of these questions by purchasing their own pedicure kit and having their technician use their own instruments. This way you know they're only used for you. When it comes to choosing nail polish, choose brands that have fewer harsh chemicals. Most nail polishes contain formaldehyde and toluene, and they're chemicals that are very damaging to the toenails. You also want to avoid shellac. It does last a long time, but it seals off the nail. It causes the nail to weaken and become damaged. Speaking of toenail damage, avoid putting acrylic nails on your toes. Acrylics are not flexible and can dig into the toe, causing an ingrown toenail. This could become a very painful infected situation. A better choice is using Keryflex. This is a keratin-based nail replacement. It's flexible and porous, so it won't hurt you or damage the nail that it's applied to any further. I'll discuss Keryflex in more detail in a future video. In next week's video, we'll discuss trauma to the toenails, how to avoid it, and what to do when it happens. Please take a moment to like, comment, subscribe, and share on social media to help others find the information they need. And don't forget to pick up my free book about maintaining healthy toenails at www.mytoenailbook.com. The link is at the top of the description below. If you're noticing any problem with your toenails, such as thickening, discoloration, or pain, give us a call at the office and we'll get you in for an immediate appointment. That link is also in the description. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.